This month, new names beat old hands in Italy, slingshots in San Francisco, and inside the mind of a solo sailor.
Yeah, you can die.
Plus, we find out what America's Cup teams have been up to as they learn to ride their extraordinary flying machines. Ask any top team what single factor has the most influence on results, and the answer is always the same: time on the water. Especially crucial when you're breaking new ground. So as the clock counts down to the America's Cup in 2021, the top teams are doing all they can to learn how to handle a completely new style of sailing. Both Ineos Team UK and American Magic moved base for the winter. The Americans went to Florida.
Our season in Pensacola has completely exceeded expectations. You know, this place is it's a great place to sail. It's flat water, plenty of breeze, hasn't been too cold, and you know, the people are good here. They've been treating us really well, and you know, we couldn't be happier to be here.
Pensacola has been amazing. I think it exceeded all of our expectations. We had no idea that it was going to be 5 miles straight across, no obstructions, flat water and great breeze this whole winter, and I think everybody was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, we've obviously got a huge list of things to work our way through, and being a new class and a very new concept is, you know, pretty much every day there's something to learn, and so it's really valuable for the team as a whole to be able to go through the process of getting the boat on the water every day, and and we get the good part to go out and sail it. So it's it's a lot of fun, and the conditions here in Pensacola have just been fantastic.
Today was a kind of a classic Pensacola day. Plenty of breeze from the get-go, and it's just a nice big racetrack that we can kind of, you know, stretch out in and do everything we need and get everything we need testing-wise. But it's challenging enough that it keeps us on our toes.
That's my first time foiling, really, on a larger boat than a Moth, and for me it's a pretty unreal experience. A lot softer than what I'm used to. A lot smoother ride and a lot faster. It's pretty cool what you can do with 10 knots and flat water.
The 38 is our best shot at getting a feel for what the pain points are going to be around the racetrack, and you know, we're trying to put ourselves under pressure every day to make sure that we're learning the hard points of sail and the hard corners, and so this boat's just a great tool for that.
It's a very interesting boat. The dynamic of it is very different from the catamarans, which is it's a great challenge, and from a competitive standpoint you just sort of really enjoy the challenge of learning what the boat's all about and how it behaves, and all the things that it likes to do and doesn't like to do it. You know, you learn the hard way at times, but it's also very rewarding when things start to come together. Speeds are pretty phenomenal, and I think with the 75 we're going to see some pretty exciting action, but it's still a ways away, and I look forward to getting there eventually.
Meanwhile, Ineos Team UK moved to the Spanish Mediterranean coast for their winter camp.
We've been down here for 3 months now in Marmanor, and our whole thought process when we came down here was to try and maximise our time with our test boat T5. The breeze is super settled when it comes out of the sea breeze direction, and really flat water, so we've just been able to maximise our time out on the water and really make use of the time we've had.
Like in these campaigns, the biggest issues are the amount of time you've got. Having 3 months with very few missed sailing days is absolutely massive. If we have twice the sailing days, we get twice as much done. So it's sort of pretty simple.
The team continues to test and train using their 27-foot development boat that they launched in the Solent last summer. From handling the boat on the water to managing it ashore, the time has been invaluable. Flat water and stacks of open space have provided the perfect test track for such a technically advanced machine.
It is hard work, particularly for the shore guys. To keep a boat like that as technical as that going for so long, requires a lot of hours in the shed. And then for the rest of us, it's been some hard, long hours, but at the same time, it's massively rewarding because we can see the gains that we're making and that it's worth it.
Time away from their home base places a different type of pressure on the team. But for shore teams and sailors alike, all know that the benefits are substantial.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to seeing the family. It's been quite a stint away. The flip side of that is when we are here, you can really focus in on the job at hand. I think we've got a great team here. When you're getting a lot achieved, you don't mind putting the hours in. That's for sure.
And while the team has been pulling together and making big steps forward in a design that is pushing everybody into new territory, there are still plenty of hurdles to overcome. But as both teams know, the road to the America's Cup from here only gets harder. Palma, Mallorca, a key Mediterranean venue, a key early season regatta, and an important pointer for the TP52 class. With the first SuperSeries event starting just 10 days later, Palma Vela provides a perfect venue for this class to prepare for the season ahead. The regatta also reveals the first hard evidence as to what teams have been up to over the winter. Keen to get an early start to the season, 10 TP52 teams arrived in Palma to join the 120-boat event. For most crews, this would be the first opportunity to line up against their competitors. The dark horse in this year's fleet is the Boaten-designed Brunello. The newest boat for the 2019 season, she was built from the same mould as last year's runaway success, Quantum Racing, and has some serious talent on board. Morgan Larson is tactician, while 470 gold medalist and 49er world champion Simi Fantella is strategist. Last year, 8 of the boats in the fleet were new. This year, the main focus has been on technical changes, where many of the Boaten-designed boats have new keel bulbs. Among the favourites, last year's winning team, Quantum Racing, has a track record of success, as does Platoon. Harm Muller-Spreer's team was last season's runner-up. Azura finished third last year. They too have a reputation for leading the fleet. After Palma Vela, the 52 SuperSeries will visit 5 different venues, during which time teams will compete in around 40 races. There are no discards, every race counts. And in a field of some of the most decorated sailors in the world, there's no room for mistakes. And the early favourite from Palma Vela, Quantum Racing. Round 2 of SailGP headed to San Francisco. The notoriously breezy venue delivered some thrills and spills during practice. A near capsize for round 1 winners, Australia. And a dramatic nosedive for the Chinese team that resulted in a broken wing. But come the first of 5 fleet races, all 6 teams were up to speed, as Nathan Outridge's Japan SailGP team led the charge to the first mark. 20 minutes later, they'd taken the first win of the event, before going on to dominate the day. But it hadn't been easy.
You've just got to push the boat to its absolute limit, and I think you saw us do that 3 times today. And after that, when you're in a good position, it's just managing the risk, trying to sail the boat away from traffic, which we tried to do a lot. I think we got caught up with the British in one of the races.
Both Dylan Fletcher's British team and Tom Slingsby's Australian crew had been pushing hard. On day 2, the battle between the trio continued. The British team won the first race.
getting our first win under our belt was incredible. We knew we had it in us after yesterday, but to do it in that first race, we were so excited, and there was a bit of, just trying not to celebrate until we went over that finish line.
With Japan's points margin sufficient to take them through to the match race finale, the last fleet race was now crucial between Great Britain and Australia. It was a battle that Australia won. The Australian comeback continued as Slingsby's team pulled ahead to take the overall event win, their second of the season.
We're stoked. We struggled all week, and then Nathan Outridge and his team were the better team all week, but kept saying we were going to come good, and we left it late, but we did come good, and we won the match race and won the event, so we're stoked.
Coming up next, inside the mind of an exceptional solo sailor. Welcome back. Still to come, as the Tokyo Games draw closer, some new names are taking on the old hands and winning. Solo circumnavigators are a special breed. More people have been into space that have completed a solo lap of the planet. Be it aboard a small, slow boat or a high-speed monster of a machine, mental strength and resilience is more important than anything. Yet whether it's relief or despair, the pressure takes its toll.
It was terrifying.
Solo sailing can be an emotional roller coaster. So how do they do it? What's in the mind of a solo circumnavigator? Last month, we took a look at one of the latest Ultime-class multi-hulls to be launched, Thomas Coville's Sodebo 3, a boat designed for solo sailing. Coville knows this world well, but he also knows the toll it can take. As he approached the finish of his record-breaking solo circumnavigation in 2016, the emotion flooded out.
Fait le tour du monde avec Sodebo. Et évidemment, je leur dédie ce record, mais au-delà du record, la manière dont on l'a fait, la manière dont on l'a construit, la manière dont on a travaillé pour y arriver avec toute cette équipe fabuleuse. Voilà. C'est incroyable, c'est incroyable. Des années de travail pour arriver à ça. C'est fantastique.
As he prepares to get back into record breaking with his new boat, he takes us into his world and inside the mind of a solo circumnavigator.
I want to feel that I've done something unique. Nobody have done it before. And most of the time, people are focused on what I've done by myself, and it's not fair. You know, for me, sailing by yourself, it's like you've got a music in your mind. When you get that music, it's just a fantastic emotion. You know, there's only 5 people who have done around the world trip on a multi-hull by himself. 5 people. You have to accept that you won't be able to explain. Nobody's gonna understand. It's part of the game. But sometimes I feel lonely about that. south of the Indian Ocean. It was a very, very strong condition. Big waves, probably 9 or 10 meters. And on those big waves, you had some very big icebergs moving, and it's like islands around you. You can see them, but as soon as a dog is coming, just, yeah, you can die. If you slow down, the low pressure which is coming in the back of you maybe catch you. It's like you are walking on a mountain and you know that there is an avalanche coming from you and you need to walk at the same speed as the avalanche. If you're walking slower or if you slow down, you're going to be catch. So the pressure to stay fast is enormous. One of the hardest games is not sleeping. And actually, if you want to make somebody become crazy, you make him not sleeping for such a long time. It's nearly a torture. But you're the only one just pushing you to this torture. At one point, you just have the feeling that you want that stop. You want to sleep. And what is more than dying than sleeping for such a long time? And I've been walking on the net, being very close to the floats, and you've got only one step to do, and it's over. You will see. I don't know any sport would just push you like this. I missed or I failed 4 times. And trust me, the boots are heavy. And you can't explain why. You just come back and the only thing you can say is, I will do it again. Everything can happen, even 2 miles before the crossing the line. You can lose everything closer you are from the finish line. And you can feel that extraordinarily deep emotion coming on you, which is coming from 8 years. 8 years of effort, imagination. It's I can't say it's. I don't know if at this moment, probably for the first time in my life, I accept myself. If I will have done it only for me or only for 49 days, 3 hours, I think I will have stopped. I will have stopped actually before. But to feel the emotion, sharing that with them, it makes something in between 4 of us, which is stronger than anything else. There is no dream that you can't achieve.
Round 3 of the Hempel World Cup Series took the 8 Olympic classes to Genoa in Italy. The penultimate event of the 2019 World Cup Series, Genoa was also an important stepping stone towards next year's Olympics in Tokyo. Light conditions throughout added to the pressure for the 700 competitors and delivered some erratic scorelines. After a week of racing, there were some familiar names on the podium. Danish sailor Anne-Marie Rindom had taken gold in the laser radial. George Zarif from Brazil had excelled in the fin, while Cypriot celebrity Pavlos Kontides had finished equal first in the laser, but had lost out in the tiebreak to Hungarian Jonathan Vadnai, who took gold.
I had to beat double world champion Pavlos Kontides. I wouldn't even imagine to achieve something like that so soon. I'm very young.
But it was the less familiar names on the podium that many were focusing on. Among them, Odile van Onholt and Marika Jongens from the Netherlands, who took gold in the 49er FX. Paul Snow Hansen and Daniel Wilcox took the top spot in the men's 470 by 1 point. Fernanda Oliveira and Ana Luisa Barbachan from Brazil dominated the women's fleet.
I think that we could manage, even if it was light wind. We could make right decisions in the right time and also a good speed.
In the men's 49er, 4-time world champions and double Olympic medalists Peter Burling and Blair Tuke were back together. But they were not where many had expected them to be on the podium. Instead, it was Australian brothers David and Lachie Gilmore who finished on top after a tiebreak with New Zealand sailors Isaac McHardy and William Mackenzie.
It was a pretty stacked medal race with a lot of champions, European champions, so the pressure was on for us to perform, and I think we sailed blind of a race and managed to secure it.
In the NACRA 17, Spanish sailors Iker Martinez and Olga Maslevets took gold by just 1 point over the British team, Ben Saxton and Nicola Boniface. Next stop is the final in Marseille in June, after which the focus will shift towards the Olympic test event. And by then, the road to the Games will slide clearly into view. Next month, Europe's greatest lake race. And the new SuperSeries season kicks off.